The traditional Catholic Church teaches that beyond the requirements that the Church mandates for fasting and abstinence, Catholics have always been encouraged to observe additional days of fasting and abstinence. What about fasting on Saturdays? Saturday fasting is incredibly powerful because it is in honor of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Modernists, as well as the Vatican II sect, will not teach you this. It's clear the devil seeks to remove all forms of fasting and abstinence from the faith and the world. In ancient times, Saturdays were, along with Wednesdays and Fridays, days of fasting and abstinence for the Universal Church. The Douay Catechism of 1649 mentions that both Fridays and Saturdays were days of abstinence throughout the year. The Catholic Encyclopedia mentions, in regard to Saturday abstinence, Gregory VII speaks in no uncertain terms of the obligation to abstain on Saturdays, when he declares that all Christians are bound to abstain from flesh meat on Saturday, as often as no major solemnity occurs on Saturday, or no infirmity serves to cancel the obligation. Taken from the Douay Catechism, we read, "Why abstinence on Saturdays? To prepare ourselves for a devout keeping of the Sunday, as also in honor of the Blessed Virgin Mary, who stood firm in faith on that day, the apostles themselves wavering." As indicated in this passage, Saturday fasting may also be done in honor of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Beyond continuing the Friday abstinence and fasting until the beginning of Sunday, the Lord's Day, Saturday fasting has the characteristic of honoring the Blessed Virgin Mary, who is always honored and recalled in a special manner on Saturdays. It was on Holy Saturday that the Virgin Mother of God patiently awaited our Lord's resurrection, and we may keep her company and honor her while also making reparation for sins by keeping at least some Saturdays as voluntary days of fasting. On this principle, St. Alphonsus Liguori writes in the Glories of Mary, "There are many devout clients of Mary who, to honor her, fast on bread and water on Saturdays and the vigils of her feasts. It is well known that Saturday is dedicated by the Holy Church to Mary, because, as St. Bernard says, on that day, the day after the death of her son, she remained constant in faith. Therefore, Mary's clients are careful to honor her on that day by some particular devotion, and especially by fasting on bread and water, as did St. Charles Borromeo, Cardinal Tollet, and so many others, Nitardo, Bishop of Bamberg, and Father Joseph Arriaga, of the Society of Jesus, took no food at all on that day. The great graces that the Mother of God has dispensed to those who do this are recorded by Father Orima. Let one example suffice. It is that of a famous captain of brigands, who, on account of this devotion, was preserved in life after his head had been cut off, and was thus enabled to make his confession, for the unfortunate creature was in a state of sin. After confession, he declared that, on account of this devotion, the Blessed Virgin had obtained for him so great a grace, and immediately expired. It would not, then, be anything very great for a person who pretends to be devout to Mary, and particularly for one who has perhaps already deserved hell, to offer her this fast on Saturdays. I affirm that those who practice this devotion can hardly be lost. Not that I mean to say that if they die immortal sin, the Blessed Virgin will deliver them by a miracle, as she did this bandit. These are prodigies of divine mercy which very rarely occur, and it would be the height of folly to expect eternal salvation by such means. But I say that for those who practice this devotion, the Divine Mother will make perseverance in God's grace easy, and obtain them a good death. All the members of our little congregation who are able to do so, practice this devotion. I say those who are unable to do so, and if our health does not permit it, at least we should on Saturdays content ourselves with one dish, or observe an ordinary fast, or abstain from fruit, or something for which we have a relish. On Saturdays, we should always practice some devotion in honor of our Blessed Lady, receive Holy Communion, or at least hear Mass, visit an image of Mary, wear a haircloth, or something of that sort, but at least on the vigils of her 7 principal festivals, her clients should either offer her this fast on bread and water, or honor her otherwise as best they can. End quote. If fasting strikes you as too severe, why not choose to abstain from meat on Saturdays, just as you do on Fridays? Or perhaps at least forego sweets, alcohol, or some other luxury on Saturdays out of gratitude to our Blessed Mother. Surely, reparation and penances performed on a Saturday, precisely because Holy Mother Church has dedicated this day to Our Lady, will merit greater graces and greatly please our Heavenly Queen. We can piously maintain that Our Lady herself reaffirms this devotion in her Fatima message when she specifically requested that every first Saturday of the month be dedicated in a special way to offering reparation for the thorns with which ungrateful men pierce her immaculate heart. I say those who are unable to do or something of that sort, but at least on the vigils of her 7 principal festivals, her clients should either offer her this fast on bread and water, or honor her otherwise as best they can.